Hello there, I'm Turin, and welcome to an all-purpose guide for marriage and kids in Coral Island. I'm going to be showing you the entire process, first by breaking it down in a really simplistic way, which you can use for any character, and then I'm going to be showing the entire odyssey that we went on with Suki, with my wholesome farmer Hadley, to get them both hitched. Hey there, Hadley. How are you feeling at the end of this quest that we've been on?
Well, to be honest, Turin, I'm completely exhausted. It really was an odyssey. It's a lot tougher than it's going to sound when you break it down in this next segment. I'll tell you that now, dear viewer. On this here adventure, I got a dog, run on a giant stingray and help the merfolk clear the ocean, and touch some weird stones and help giants out, and I helped a goddess get her body back. I went to a bunch of really cool festivals. I mean, I had a lot of fun going to those. Most of this stuff was absolutely necessary as well. I got the farm up and running. I can't talk about all of it because it would be spoilers, but take it away anyway, Turin.
So in order to get somebody to actually live with you, after you've proposed to them, after you've married them, you need the level 3 house. Looking closely at the requirements here, you need 40,000 coins to buy it, as well as wood, stone, and silver. And on the inside, upstairs, you get your spouse room at the back here. Whoever you marry will get a unique room here, much like in Stardew Valley, how you get a spouse room off to the right side of your house. And you have your bedroom, kitchen, and lounge downstairs. Next up, of course, you've got to get that person you like to 8 hearts. And when you get them to 8 hearts, you can then run immediately over to the blacksmith and get a locket on the same day. This locket symbolizes your romantic intent. It's an island tradition, apparently. Hoof it back over to that person, give them the locket, and they'll only be too happy to get to know you romantically. Next up, you get your love interest to 10 hearts, and you see their 10 heart event. You have to see the 10 heart event before you can successfully propose to them, so make sure you see this event first. Then you can buy them a diamond ring, which you can use to propose to them. Same place again, go to the blacksmith for that. Turns up when you have 10 hearts for somebody, but is only usable after the event. And then you can present it to them, propose, have a lovely moment with them, and they'll give you the usual spiel about how they'll marry you in a few days and set everything up. Not exactly the same Stardew dialogue, but it's essentially the same tradition. And then in no time at all, you get to enjoy an incredible marriage ceremony. And on the same day, your spouse moves in with you. For the next stage house, in order to have babies, you're going to need 120,000 coins, plus 200 hardwood, 300 stone, and 10 gold. Getting the hardwood is really difficult. You need to have at least 6 bundles completed at the lake temple in order to unlock this deep woods area, which can have up to 2 hardwood logs a day. You can get a maximum of about 14 pieces of hardwood a day in the deep woods area. And if you want to get more hardwood than that, you have to unlock the dig site with 14 bundles, or you have to get the town to grade B to be able to buy hardwood directly from the blacksmith. Both really hard things to do. Your house upgrade will be completed in 3 days, which results in you getting 2 nurseries upstairs, both gender neutral, both with the capability of changing as your child changes, because your children will grow up. However, growing up is not implemented in the game at the moment, and they will stay as infants in the crib. You also get this horrible bug if you put wallpaper in the hall as well. The very next day, you'll be asked if you want to have a baby, at least I was anyway. Then you've got to kill 18 days until the baby actually arrived. A whole 18 days. I mean, you could sleep 18 days straight if you wanted to rush the thing. And then you get this rather odd sequence where the baby just sort of appears in your house, and the baby is actually gender neutral, and you can name them whatever you want to name them. You get an adorable little portrait that apparently relates to whoever the parent is. And there you have it, you get a little infant in a crib and you've completed your journey. Okay, so those are the bare basics of what you need to do with any person in Coral Island in order to get them married and get kids out of them. But trust me, there are way more hurdles and details that you need to know about. And we're going to demonstrate what those hurdles were by telling you the story of how we got there with Suki. So it's important to know that I'm actually a founder for Coral Island. Like, I've backed this on Kickstarter, I played it in alpha, I played it in beta. I've been waiting for ages to get Hadley hitched to Suki. This has been a long time coming. This is more than just the 64 hours I put into making this video. A lot of hours, geez. We've seen all of Suki's outfits come out. We've seen all of the different updates for the game. We have been waiting for this, and we had a great time, despite how exhausting it was. So I kicked things off with Hadley with designing him in a very satisfying customization menu, which hadn't been fully implemented up until this point, and I was really satisfied with the end result. I feel like this was the first time I was able to get Hadley to really look like how I imagined him in 3D in a game for the first time. And then that was quickly snuffed out by the terrible bug that is your face turning back into the default face whenever you change outfits. So that was a short-lived joy. But hey ho, we just kept on wearing farmers' outfits anyway and just changing our hats and had fun with that. Now it's important to know that we had a huge advantage when making this video, because we had all of our money transferred over from our early access save, and somehow we almost made 800,000 gold, so this made our journey just a little bit easier. It was still hard though. So we got to work growing vegetables that we could use in green smoothies for Suki, because green smoothies are one of Suki's loved items and basically is the easiest loved item that you could possibly farm and gather for her. Before you do your third house upgrade, you of course have to do your first upgrade, which is very easy and can be done on day one if you just get the resources. Dinda and Joko will do it for free for you, and you get this lovely little sequence where they help you tidy up the basic house for you. When receiving your level 1 house upgrade, you can actually choose what design you want for the house for free as well. It's really nice. And then when you come to your level 2 house upgrade, you can switch the style again if you want to, and you're going to spend 5,000 coins, and you'll need 100 pieces of wood, 50 pieces of stone, and 10 bronze bars. First 2 upgrades are quite doable. They shouldn't take you too long to do, and it's very important for winning over somebody like Suki because we get a kitchen, which means we can go over to Luke's store and we can get a blender, and with the blender and just using a vegetable we can make smoothies. Once you've learned the recipe, you can do this manually yourself. When you have the blender, you can make them in bulk like this, and soon you've got way more smoothies than you need, and you can just ply Suki with smoothies all the time, twice a week. You also of course have to talk to her every day as well, because you get points for that. While doing all that, we got to see all of her different heart events. Suki's 4 heart event happens between 6 AM and midday, and it happens on the beach pier. As well as getting the time right, it has to be sunny on the beach pier as well. We covered her 3 heart event before in our last video, but her 4 heart event sees her have a scene with her ex-husband, which reveals that they seem to have a really good relationship and they're really good at co-parenting. Like, we get a taste of it. In the 6 heart event, we get a scene where Suki has to pick her daughter up from school because her daughter's sick, and it's a really cool scene, and we learn a lot more about her relationship with her daughter and the problems she's having with the fact that she had to get a divorce. We learn a bit about Valentina's discomfort of not having other family members around that she used to have around when Suki was married. Following on from that, the 7 heart scene actually deals more with this topic of Valentina missing being able to see her father whenever she wants to, and Suki having to deal with that difficulty. The 8 heart then actually has Suki and Antonio discuss this at length. And this is one of the interesting things about watching Suki's story unfold, is you realize how much of a dedicated parent she is, and also you become privy to just how great a relationship she actually has with Antonio. She does love the guy, she does respect him, they're just not together romantically, but they are both willing to give it everything they have to raise the kid. Like, they don't hate one another, it's fantastic. The second 8 heart event has a kind of like some sort of sports day or like activity day for parents that sees Suki bonding with Antonio and Valentina. It's really cute and lovely. After we'd done all that, we'd finally got her to 8 hearts. We were able to give her the romantic locket and see her blushing. This was a long time coming for us. We've been playing this game for a couple of years now. We've been wanting to get to this point for a while. We saved being able to date her for this video, and exactly on 8 hearts we were able to get that done. Getting somebody to 8 hearts is easier said than done. The only advantage you can possibly get is if the person that you want to marry has a birthday very early on. At the moment, on somebody's birthday, you get the ability to give them an extra gift, so you can give them 2 loved items on their birthday, and it seems to give you a tremendous boost if you do this. We couldn't do that with Suki because her birthday was in winter, so we just basically had to plow on. After we started dating Suki, we didn't really see a huge difference in romantic dialogue. And I feel like that's probably going to get fixed in the future because it didn't seem right. But anyway, by the time the Harvest Festival came along, in true style, we were able to give Suki one last movie and even get the achievement for getting somebody to 10 hearts for the first time. And that was it. We were on our way to getting married. Our first proposal went terribly. Hadley got dressed up in a suit and got made to look ridiculous because he basically got rejected. She did it in a nice way though. Like, you can tell she actually is really flattered and she probably would want to marry you. It's just that you have to do the 10 heart first.
Oh boy, that was really embarrassing. I hope nobody in the school saw that.
So anyway, we then quickly realized we needed to hoof it over to Allen Square and see the 10 heart event thanks to the Discord. Discord has been a godsend. The community over there is excellent for information. And you see this really lovely event with her where somehow this mini golf area, arena, whatever you want to call it, pops up. And you have this really visually driven scene where you just play mini golf together and have a really good time. Just take a look at skip this if you don't want to see it. You want to save it for yourself. But obviously if you're the kind of person who's not going to marry Suki, then, you know, have a treat. Watch the whole thing. It's really cute. I really liked it, to be honest. I think the best type of storytelling can often be just, you know, no dialogue and just a bunch of visual gags and depictions and stuff like that. You can really enjoy this scene because of that without any like heavy amounts of dialogue to prove how people feel about one another. You can tell they're enjoying themselves and having a great time together. Like, what was that shot? Like, that was impossible. That shot that they just did. And then Suki just goes ahead and confesses her feelings for you. This moment was actually so heartfelt for us because, well, like for me, because Suki might not be quite my number one. Like, I think that's actually Leah, but like, I've been waiting ages to get to this moment where we could actually see this happen with this character. And it was really disappointing not having any romantic dialogue between 8 and 10 hearts. Might actually be an oversight on my part. There might actually be more romantic dialogue if you don't rush to marry the person at 10 hearts. They might actually have new dialogue. We didn't test that one. I'm going to test that one in the future. If you found that out, let me know in the comment section if the dialogue changed at 10 hearts before you proposed to them. But otherwise, we didn't see any changes in dialogue just yet, and I don't think that's intended. So then we were able to go ahead and propose this time. Hadley didn't want to risk wearing a suit again this time, I think. And of course, she accepted. And again, this was a lovely moment as well. I teared up quite a bit at this moment because, like I said, it had taken us a very long time to get here. We haven't just bought the game and played 60 hours. We've been playing this for years to get to this moment. What an odyssey we've been on. Really touching dialogue, a really nice scene, stood there for a little while, loved it. So we immediately got some romantic dialogue about Suki talking about the upcoming wedding, which was a really nice welcome change. Like, she just starts talking about, you know, concerns for the marriage, and we get some new dialogue off her. Again, don't know if she's supposed to have different dialogue at 10 hearts before proposing, but it was really nice to actually see her like giving us affection in dialogue for a change. Other people have wedding dialogue as well. Like, it's a bit jarring though. Like, Millie's like, 1 minute she's congratulating you and then she completely changes the subject to something else. Chain was the same way too. Just basically just said, you know, congratulates you for being engaged and then basically tells you to get lost immediately.
Oh, fine, jeez.
Valentina had a bit to say about the upcoming wedding. She was really happy about it too. On your wedding day, you get told it's your wedding day, so you better get dressed ready for it. And as soon as you go out the house, you will immediately be taken to the ceremony. You get this wonderful cutscene, which for me was immediately ruined by the fact that we get default face Hadley again. Like, default face Hadley, it just makes me cringe. Like, I finally got to make him exactly as I wanted to, but if I change his outfit, He just gets this derpy, handsome Squidward face almost. Luckily, we didn't get too many close-ups of him, so it wasn't all bad. Then we just get this fantastic marriage ceremony where even Connor is dressed up to the nines in a different outfit. This scene was so touching. Like, all the different choices you can actually make in terms of what you want to say to your partner are really good. The fact that you can choose to say your vow in private. Really nice choices. Like, some people do like to do their vows in private. What Suki had to say next was just like, oh my god, it was so heartwarming. Like, she looks fantastic. The dress is amazing. Everybody looks really good on the wedding day, by the way. I think I liked this line the most because we generally had cared about them quite deeply for a very long time, so it felt very genuine. And then you run off. Like, I've cut some of the ceremony out so you've got something to say for yourself. I don't want to spoil everything for you. And then very jarringly, Suki and Valentina weren't in the house after the wedding, but Valentina's room popped up, thus solving the riddle of what happens. Well, not the riddle, the mystery of what happens with Valentina. Your spouse room turns into Valentina's room, and you get to have up to 3 children. So including your own 2 kids, you get Valentina too. So that's a really nice surprise, or a nice way of handling it. Did eventually find Suki. She was just up in the hot spring and had absolutely nothing to say about being married. So this doesn't feel fully polished yet and completed. I'm sure that this is not intended. She was back in the house in the evening, though. I was a bit worried she wasn't living with us at the time. And Valentina was up in her room, and she didn't really have anything to say about the fact that this drastic change just happened in our lives. You get a lot of really interesting new dialogue from Suki after you've married her, so whoever you marry, we're going to have a lot of new interesting dialogue. They keep a dynamic schedule. They don't just stay in the house, stationary in the kitchen, and sometimes leave the house. They do a lot of different things, and they have a lot of different things to say. The lines were lovely. Some of the things she said were amazing. And here you can see that Suki's off into town. This happens quite regularly, so is Valentina. You don't really need to stalk them around because you can see them on the map, which is really handy. And you can even see Suki physically returning to the farm later, so you will see them physically leave and physically enter the farm. So the next stage now became actually upgrading the house to baby level, to level 4. It took us ages to do this. It drove me crazy getting all the wood for this. It was faster for me to just plow on with getting the small amount that I could from the woods, but it's also important to note that you can get some hardwood off your farm. I recommend using dynamite so you don't need the axe requirement, and you can also get some more hardwood from a log over here at the waterfalls. You then, after 3 days, of course, you get your house upgrade, you get your gender neutral baby nurseries. Then the very next day you get asked if you want to have a baby, and again Suki didn't really have anything to say about that, which is a bit odd. The whole pregnancy situation, arrival of the baby, is a bit vague. You don't really know how it goes down. So then I had to burn 18 days to actually wait for the kid to turn up.
Well, luckily we had the Winter Festival to investigate, which has amazing mini-games. It's like the night market in Stardew Valley. It's quite different, actually. Games are really in-depth. Something to do for at least a week to kill time waiting for the young'un to come. And it was a good opportunity to spend more time with Valentina and Suki as well. But 18 days passed, and then
randomly the baby shows up. The baby is interestingly gender neutral, so I picked the name Ash because that's a gender neutral name. I think we're gonna have a kind of situation where we, like in The Sims, I think, where when the child is old enough, you kind of pick what you want them to look like, maybe. It seems like their bedrooms are going to change as they age up as well. But none of that is implemented yet. You can only have a baby in a crib. The baby is on the menu there, on the family menu, which is segregated for the people you live with and your dog. Suki's routine then changed. She began to look after the baby most of the morning into the early afternoon. She had a routine in the nursery. There seems to be a lot of rough edges on having children at the moment because it's not fully implemented, as well as a lot of the dialogue feels strange at the moment. It doesn't feel fully finished, but you can get it to this stage. Your spouse does actually maintain an active schedule though, so if you do want to get to the baby stage, they will still leave the house. Okay, so it's time to do the conclusion for the video. Hadley worked his ass off, I worked my ass off. Big thanks to him for putting up with this and having to have 2 families to look after now. My advice for you is probably don't worry about having children as fast as you can. It's very difficult to get the hardwood that you need for the 4th house upgrade. There's only one method that you can use to get it as fast as possible. Worrying about it and trying to make it happen as soon as possible is probably not a great idea. You should just do it passively. Another important thing to be aware of is the fact that you can't get divorces at the moment. So if you're planning on like messing with everybody in town, or you just don't like the person that you're marrying, you can't divorce them yet. Like, that function isn't there. Isn't that crazy that that function's not in the game at the moment? So yeah, anyway, good luck with this. Good luck out there, coral farmers. Enjoy yourselves.
Remember to subscribe and like this video.